My name is Faith Everest. I'm from Wirral Met College, and I think the main issue at the moment that I see on a day-to-day basis in the community work I do is the local people who can't access learning because they are on employment support allowance, the old incapacity benefit, probably because of mental health needs, drug addiction, alcohol, and they can't access learning because they're not eligible for the feeder mission. If they're on job seekers, it'd be fine, and these are the very people that need a focus, that have the time, need that confidence to get back into society and learning, and they are really struggling.
Well, for me, Sandra Sutton, the key issue for me today is the offer for women and employability and making the links between employment for women and women's learning and skills development.
My name is Nina Champion. I work for the Prisoners Education Trust Learning Matters project. For me, the most important thing that came out of today was actually hearing the learners themselves, hearing their voices and their experience. Because actually what's talked about in theory, how it acts on the ground, could be very different, and their experiences of how it actually works on the ground is absolutely vital to enabling us to meet the needs of prisoners better in terms of their learning and education.
My name's Sharon Barrett. I'm Head of Learning and Skills Co-Commissioning for the National Offender Management Service. I think what's come across very strongly to me today is the power of the learner voice. I enjoyed in particular listening to the ex-offenders talking about their experiences, and I think for many of them who were perhaps their level of attainment was quite high, significantly higher perhaps than the average offender in prison, it seemed as if we hadn't really delivered what was necessary for them. So I think that's something I need to take away.
My name's Sophie Barton Hawkins. I think the most important thing we take from today is that there needs to be better education provision in terms of higher levels of education, such as A-levels, opening courses, starting on degrees within the prison system. And I've learnt more by sitting on this table than I have in the whole 18 months I've been on probation in terms of what I can get access to. I've not been signposted to anything. You go in, sit down, you get asked 3 questions. Are you on drugs? Are you drinking alcohol? Have you been arrested? And that's it. And then off you go for the next month. But really they could be like, right, okay, what do you want to do? They're aware of what I have been doing, but not signposted me in terms of getting any further support or employment options out of it. And I found out today that it's all there. It's just you're not being told about it.
Yeah, my name is Stephen Roberts. I was in Bedford Prison for about 6 months. I tried to access different learning modules, although all that was actually available to me in prison was basic English and mathematical models, which actually weren't appropriate for my needs. I wanted to take out a course of to teach English as a foreign language, and that just is not available at any level at all, introductory or otherwise, if you're a short-term prisoner.
I'm Helen McKeown, and I've been going to Tomorrow's Women since May 2011, and I finished my 12 months probation on the 11th of May 2012. There should be more centres like Tomorrow's Women, Wirral, for people to help them to get on with their lives and for further education like I did, and it's really helped me.
Great.
Okay, Carol Taylor, Director of Research and Development at NIOS. I think the Minister, John Hayes, put his finger on it really for me when he talked about vulnerability and normalisation, and I think this idea that we're all vulnerable and all of us could have ended up in this situation is one we really ought to hold on to, and the fact that normalisation, that concept is about the education and the access to learning that people get in prison and when they're in the community ought to be the same access to education, the same quality, the same level as everybody else has. And I think that's the big thing for me that's come out about let's have some standardisation, some good quality, some individualised learning for everybody who wants to access learning as an adult.
Okay, my name's Rachel Halford. And for me today there were many issues that came out, but I think what I walk away with is the interest and the enthusiasm to change. You know, for me, women is the priority because that's who we are, women in prison. However, seeing that NIAS had this on their agenda is really encouraging, really encouraging.